Hey everybody, second time doing this. I forgot to put some information in the first one. So here's the Florida Panthers season review. Heads up for the Florida fans. Not gonna be your favorite type of video. I think they are not gonna be great this year, but they who knows where they're gonna finish. Florida, they're like the San Jose Sharks. You say they're gonna be good, they do terrible. They you say they're gonna be bad, they do great. There you go. All right, additions. They added Kevin Connaughton on a professional tryout. Same with Scott Darling. Patrick Hornquist, they have via trade, which honestly I think that's going to be a good pickup for them. Same with Marcus Nudavara, they added via trade. That helps their defense. Radko Gudas, 3 years, $2.5 million per. Decent pickup. Carter Verhaeghe, 2-year, $1 million per. Good depth forward for Tampa for the last year or so. So not a bad one. Alexander Wenberg, 1 year, $2.25 million. Hopefully he does better than he did the last 2 years with Columbus. Ryan Lomberg, 2 years, $725,000 per. Vinny Hinostroza, 1 year, $1 million. Another solid pickup for forwards. Scott Wilson, 1 year, $700,000. Anthony Duclair, 1 year, $1.7 million. I know he had a good year last year with Ottawa, but having a good year on a really bad team is one thing. But he also has a history in his career of being very hit and miss. Like, I think he had, I want to say, like, upper 20s, low 30 goals for Arizona 1 year. Next year he had, like, 6 goals or something like that. It was, like, a huge drop-off, so he's very hit and miss, and he is not reliable defensively in any way. So he may he may butt heads with their coach, I have a feeling. So our subtractions. They don't have anything huge in the subtraction area. I mean, they have a few that were significant last year to them. Michael Matheson to Pittsburgh. You ask a Pittsburgh fan or most people, they're laughing at the fact that they got Matheson and think he's going to make a difference on their defense. We'll see, but good luck. If he is, great. If he's not, a lot of people told you so. Colin Skivor is another one they traded to Pittsburgh as part of that Hornquist deal. Depth forward, so not a bad pickup. Joshua Brown they traded to Ottawa. Cliff Poo they sent to Columbus. Mark Pysyk signed with Dallas. Dryden Hunt signed with Arizona. Dominic Toninato went to Winnipeg. Lucas Wallmark went to Chicago. They picked him up at the trade deadline last year and he left. Now you get to 3 significant ones for them last year. Evgeny Dadonov went to Ottawa. He provided a lot of offense for him last year. Eric Holla went to Nashville. He provided quite a bit of offense before he got hurt, but that seems to be his usual. He does well, gets hurt, and is gone the rest of the year. That's just Eric Holla for you. Good luck, Nashville. Mike Hoffman, he is with St. Louis as of now on a professional tryout. And for those of you who don't know, with professional tryouts, it's just basically they sign a contract saying we can practice with you, and if we do well enough, you can have the right to sign me. But with a professional tryout, it's not an exclusive contract. So they can talk to their teams and still sign a contract with their team. So I have a feeling Hoffman may still sign with another team. He's probably one of the bigger free agents still out there. So I would not be surprised if he signs with somebody like Chicago today. Had big news that they lost Jonathan Toews. He's not replacing Jonathan Toews, but he's a good scoring winger, so why not at that point? Or anybody looking for offense, Arizona. Since they have no cap space, that's probably not possible. And nobody really, no offense to Arizona, but not many players actually want to go there. Don't know why. I mean, the tax breaks there are much better than most other states, so kind of surprising, but they're usually a perennial bad team. So we'll see. Brian Boyle, he is currently a free agent, probably towards the end of his career, so he may retire. Who knows? He may also sign a PTO with somebody and try to get back in the NHL again. Alright, they re-signed Sam Montembeault. 1 year, $700,000. I think he got in some games last year. He's a goalie. I want to say he got in a few games last year for Florida. Sorry, now I'm thinking Arizona. Mackenzie Weegar, 3 year, $3.25 million. And Mason Marshman they re-signed for 1 year and $700,000. Now they have cap space. 74 million, 74.8 is where they sit right now. They have about 6.6 in cap space. But they're a smaller market team, and in current climate, they probably are going to try their best to stay as far below budget, as far below that cap as they possibly can. I mean, a lot of these smaller to mid-range market teams are really hurting right now because they're not getting gate revenue. Their TV deals may be less than what they're used to because it's only 56 games and those TV contracts were signed for 82. So we'll see how that works out. But a lot of these teams are really hurting, especially ones like Florida right now. So even though they have space, I don't see them filling that space, honestly. All right. They have solid forwards. I mean, most of their guys are veterans, but they also have a couple of really solid young guys in Huberdeau and Barkov. Hornquist is probably getting towards the end of his career. I mean, he's hurt a lot more than he plays anymore. I mean, but that's also the Thomas Holmstrom effect. He's right in front of that net all the time. He's getting cross-checked, slashed, punched, kicked, getting his eyes gouged, I'm sure, when he's down too. Not that you ever see that, but I guarantee it does happen. Brett Connolly, he's a solid player. I mean, Frank Vetrano, Wenberg is a prove-it type of player right now. I mean, he looked good for those first 2 years in Columbus, and the last two have been really, ugh. Duclair, same type of thing. Prove that you can stick with that that ability you had last year and consistently. Nola Chari, we know he's a solid third, fourth liner. Vinny Hinestroza, he's a solid third, fourth liner. Verhaeghe, same type of thing. Lomberg, same thing. Then this Alexei Sarella is a RFA they need to re-sign if he even plays. I don't know. Never heard of him personally. So they have Wenberg and Hinestroza as UFAs after this year, and I guess Duclair is still arbitration eligible after this season. So, like I said, all three had to prove that they're good enough to stay. Defensively, that Riley Stillman, who is on the last year of his entry level, he'll be RFA after this year. That's the only defender that is a free agent. I mean, they spend a lot of money on their defense. And by the books, they look like a strong defense, but Anton Strahlman has not said if he's going to play this year since he opted out in the playoffs last year. I think he has family that is high risk for COVID, I believe is what it was. I don't know if it was him himself, but I believe it was a family member, like a child, I want to say, that was at risk. And that's fine. If he wants to opt out, that's fine. But we'll see what he does, because that could change the whole setup of this defense. And he's not getting younger, just like Keith Yandel. Gudas is at 30, so he should be about in his prime. Same with Nudavara. Ekblad should be right there. So, I mean, like I said, on paper, they look like they're good. But I've seen this Florida team over the years. They have teams that look like they are great on paper and just tear apart like paper. It's just incredible sometimes to watch that just falling apart that they do sometimes. And they have Sergei Bobrovsky in net. I mean, for what they're paying him and for how good he was with Columbus, he cannot be playing like he did last year. I mean, that was awful. I mean, he's got to be better. I mean, if he can't get better, that's going to hurt them a lot for the rest of this contract. What is that? 6 more years through 2025, 2026. Is that their longest one? Yeah, that is their longest contract right now. Even Ekblad isn't even signed that long. So, I mean, he has to be better. I mean, if he can't be better, I'm not hoping injury to him, but they better hope he is so they can put him on retained salary. Or not retained, on long-term injury reserve so they can get $10 million in cap space back. Because if he's not playing up to par, I mean, you don't want that $10 million on your contract for a guy who's going to have a less than 900 save percentage. That's just not worth it. But if he can get back to how he was playing with Columbus next year, they could be a very good team. I could be very wrong with where I put them. So we'll see. I mean, their backup goalie, Chris Drudger, I think is how you say that, is the UFA after this year. I mean, I think they have one of the best goaltending prospects out there, so we'll see with that. They still retain salary for one more year on Jason Demare, $500,000. Buyout, they are paying for Scott Darling for the next 3 years, but they lose about $1 million or $1.2 million off of that after this season. And they had the recapture penalty for Roberto Luongo for the next 2 seasons. So they'll be losing money here soon from those. And I mean, they have cap space. So, I mean, I guess they could take on a long-term injury reserve type person, like a Ryan Kessler is one that comes to my mind out there. But is it worth taking that on when you're suffering financially right now? I don't think so. Why do you think the Ducks are trying to get rid of that contract to a bigger team who can take that? That's just one example. There's other ones out there. It's just one that comes to mind. So they have all sorts of forwards down here. Like, I know these two, Heponiemi and Denisenko, are top prospects for them. Same with Owen Tippett, who I think Owen Tippett's going to get some playtime this year. Because I think he's no longer junior eligible. Yeah, no, he's minor now. I mean, you got Rodrigo Abels, Patrick Bykoff, or Baykoff, something like that, Jonathan Ang, Yuo Lamiko, and Mason Marchment as RFAs. You have Henrik Borgstrom, who is currently an RFA, and Scott Wilson, who's a UFA. So, I mean, none of their big name prospects are looking at their contract ending with the forwards. Defensively, they had Chase Prisky, Alec Rauhauser, Jake Massey, and Braden Keeper as RFAs, and Ethan Prow and Tommy Cross as UFAs. So none of those, I believe, are their top-end prospects. I mean, some of them might get some games, who knows, with injury. You also have all 3 of these goalies, Samuel Montembeault, Philippe DeRoyer, and Ryan Bednard as RFAs out there this year. Then, like I said, you got Kevin Connaughton and Scott Darling and PTOs. I mean, Scott Darling, they can probably sign cheap. Why would they bring Darling back? If they're paying his buyout history, why are you going to pay for him again? That makes no sense. But, I mean, I guess he's a better backup than whoever the heck they had. Alright, their 2020 draft. I think this first pick they had, number 12, Anton Lundell, he's going to be a solid player for him down the line. He's not playing this year. Guarantee that. I'd be surprised if he does, but I mean, I guess it's possible. But he's going to be a solid player for him in the next couple of years or so. So that one's a good one to look forward to. He'll probably be that solid, I'd say at best second line, most likely a third line center that is going to provide some offense, but be a really good penalty killer and really solid two-way player. Alright, you got number 43, Emil Heineman. Number 74, they got Ty Simulanek, who I believe was a guy who slipped a bit. Number 87, Justin Sourdiff. Number 95, Michael Benning. 105, you got Zach Ewens. 153, Casper Butillo. 198, Elliot Ekmark. And number 212, Devin Levy. So, I mean, Lundell, definitely going to be a solid player down the line. They have all their own draft picks and Winnipeg's 7th round next year, so they haven't traded away any picks, which is good. They need those, I think. Alright, you got lineup-wise. First line's going to be solid. We know that. I mean, Barkov, we know is going to put up probably in 56 games. He'll probably put up 60, 70 points. Huberdeau, probably around the 60-point range. Hornquist, if he stays healthy, probably put up 45, 50. Second line, Frank Vetrano, Nola Chari, and Brett Connolly. That's their second line? I mean, Brett Connolly makes sense, second line, but why wouldn't you have, like, Wenberg and Duclair up there? Or even Owen Tippett? But, yeah, that's their third line, honestly. Honestly, that should be their third line, and that's their second. It looks like they have it listed. Third line, Duclair, Wenberg, and Tippett. Fourth line, Lomberg, Verhage, and Hinestroza. Solid fourth line. Defensively, Mackenzie Weegar and Aaron Ekblad. Keith Yandel and Anton Strawman, if he plays or if he opts out, we'll see. Marcus Nudavara and Radko Gudas is the third pair. Sergei Bobrovsky is their goaltender with Chris Dredger as the backup. All right, scratches. You can see scratches there. Nobody that really screams out at me. But, I mean, it's a solid lineup. The main problem is if Bobrovsky plays like last year, the defense plays like last year, Strawman doesn't come in, the offense can be suspect at times. I mean, this third line, Owen Tippett's a rookie. Wenberg and Duclair, you don't know what you're going to get. Because, I mean, he had 20-odd some goals last year. He may have only like 5 this year because that's the way he plays sometimes. You just don't know. Wenberg, he's a reclamation project, basically. We're hoping that he does well. But if he doesn't, he's on a 1-year contract. Bye-bye. That type of thing. I mean, that second line, they're a solid 3. They'll provide secondary scoring, but I think they're better off here. Third line instead of second. I mean, they'll provide offense, but I mean, Hornquist, if he's hurt all year, they're going to plug in like Connolly or Tippett. Or Hastroza, I guess. So, I mean, if they have injuries, they definitely are not going to succeed this year. But I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, Taxi Squad, they got Scott Wilson, who's played a few games up there. I think Montebeau played some games last year, so I'm kind of surprised he's not the backup, but it is what it is. Training camp, Denisenko is one of our top prospects. Who knows? He might sneak in. Same with Hepo Niemi. Connaughton's played games, so he may be a backup defender or fill in that spot if Strawman doesn't play. I mean, Scott Darling, if they sign him, he may be the backup because they're going to sign him cheap. They're not going to sign him big. Here's the loan players. You got prospects here like Lindell. I think he's signed in Finland. He's not signed here in the U.S. yet, so he's signed in Finland still. Ty Simulanek is not going to be ready. I mean, you got some. I mean, that's the goalie they want as their backup, I'm sure, is Spencer Knight, but he may be better served playing another year in junior or college, wherever he's playing. I mean, yeah, they got some future, that's for sure. All right, so Spencer Knight, here we go. Top prospect, Spencer Knight. He's also playing World Juniors for Team USA, I believe he's American right now. 32-4-1, great record, and 39 NTDP games, which is the National Team Development Program for the U.S. Owen Tippett is their top forward at 74 points in 54 OHL games. They've been waiting for him. I think he was drafted like 2-3 years ago, and they've been waiting for him to be ready. I think this is the year he's going to finally get into a few games. Alexei Heponiemi, 46 points in 50 Finnish league games. Grigory Denisenko, 6 points in 25 Russian games. I don't know what league exactly RUS is, but that's what that listed. Saren Noel, 81 points in 68 OHL games. I mean, I couldn't find an article that listed other prospects outside the top 5, and I couldn't find one that even listed Anton Lundell in their top 5. So, Anton Lundell is one I'm putting down, and honestly, you could put down Ty Simulanek too. I think he'll be a top prospect for him as well. Season outlook, I think they're going to be a middle-range team in their division. It's not even that they have a hard division. Their division is a whole lot of, we'll have to see how the season goes. Because, I mean, Tampa, we know they're a solid team, but with Kucherov out for a year and Steven Stamkos' health up in the air, you don't know where they're going to really be. But I think they still have a solid enough team. They're going to be a top team in that division easily. Nashville, it's a whole lot of wait and see. Because, I mean, their goaltending is their weakness. I mean, Detroit, we know is going to be bottom tier. Dallas, they're a better playoff than regular season team. Same with Columbus. Chicago just lost Jonathan Toews, their heart and soul. So we'll have to see what kind of damage that does. I didn't expect them to be a top team anyways, but that just hurts all the more. And Carolina probably will be a top-tier team on that division. So, Florida could finish all the way in last in this division, but they could also finish as high as like the third best team especially if Bobrovsky has a great year turns back to how he was with Columbus, they could be a top team. But it's all dependent on injuries and if reclamation projects like Wenberg and Duclair do really well. If they can do that and that defense isn't as suspect as it has been in the past, then they could be a top team. But my personal opinion is they're going to finish at the bottom to, at best, the middle. Like the third or fourth worst in the division. Like, I can only see Chicago and Detroit, maybe Nashville if they have a bad year again, being below them. So, that's where I see them. So, if you're a Florida fan, like I said, it could be... I told you it was probably not going to be a good year, and it's probably not. But, like I said, if everything works correctly, then they could be a top team. So, you might have something to look forward to. I don't think they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs, but we'll see. So, like I said, bottom to middle range in their division because of the new division setup. So, all right, well, that's where I see Florida this year. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you are a subscriber and you're watching, thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, thank you for watching anyways. But make sure to subscribe, help me out, and help out the channel so we can keep doing this. And if you enjoyed it, do make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I drop new videos. And make sure to like, comment, and share, and I will see you all next video. Bye, everybody.